G'day again, my name's Paul Morrison and great to have you with us. Joining with it, creating communities for these sessions called Stronger Together. We're talking to professionals and experts in the community who might be able to give us some lessons and help us through this time of COVID-19. Today we have the privilege of having Justin Langer, Australian cricket team coach, joining with us. G'day JL.
Hey Murray.
Mate, thanks for coming in. Now first I've got to ask you this, how have you felt watching the test and seeing yourself under all that pressure?
I was really nervous about the test. It was a documentary they started filming the day I did my very first press conference as the Australian cricket coach, and I had no idea it was going ahead actually. But when I went from the press conference back to the airport, there was a cameraman asking me questions. I was like, oh, that's interesting what this is all about. And then he was literally with us every waking moment in the team for the last 18 months. So there was times when I had to say, his name was Andre, I said, and we called him the Doc. I said, Doc, camera down, mate, you can't listen to this. He'd go, yeah, no problem. But he filmed everything. So before it came out, I was so nervous. I was nervous how it was going to come across, and I was very nervous how it was going to be received. But it's been overwhelmingly positive. The people who've watched it, it's been brilliant to receive that feedback. But there were certainly moments when I've looked at it and I started getting sweaty in my trackie pants thinking, oh, did I say that? And the funny thing is my third daughter, Sophie, who's 19 in a few days' time, she watched the second episode back in England 6 or 8 months ago, and she got this look on her face. She goes, Dad, that's the first time I've ever seen you angry in my life.
Wow.
So I went, oh, she whiz.
Yeah.
And I swore a bit too much in the first two. I keep getting told, oh, geez, you swear a lot. I went, oh, yeah, but being a coach is a lot about putting on an act.
Passion.
And there's a bit of passion comes through, but overall it's been great, Murray, and it's a good time for people to watch it.
Well, it's timely called the test because right across Australia, the whole nation's undergoing a test. What are some of the things you're seeing as a result impacting cricket through COVID-19? Well,
every sector's affected, isn't it? Obviously in sport, which we're involved in, I was blown away. I'm on the board of the West Coast Eagles Footy Club, and we had a board meeting on the Friday night before it was cancelled on the Saturday or Sunday, and I spoke to the West Coast Eagles boys on the Saturday morning before the first game. And the board meeting, it was an incredibly sobering experience, because when you looked at the worst case scenarios and all the different scenarios that might happen, my gosh, it's a really worrying time. It's the same for cricket. We're supposed to have just got back from New Zealand. The county cricket is in disarray. The IPL was meant to happen. India is supposed to come out to Australia next summer, which is a massive marquee event for us. The T20 World Cup's meant to be next in October. So there's just so much uncertainty, and it goes to show how tight these companies or these sports are to run. Now, if that's football and cricket and rugby league and rugby union, imagine what it's like for the businesses out there. My gosh, Murray, like everyone's going to be affected by this. And as I say, this is a really sobering time, but it's also, like all crisis, it's an amazing time where amazing opportunities. We saw it, a minute example that when we had a crisis in Australian cricket 2 years ago, when some guys put the sandpaper on the ball, compared to what's happening now. I mean, back then that was like the biggest, was like the world was about to end. Well, this is a serious crisis. What I've learned from in times of crisis, Murray, is that there's so much opportunity in crisis to get better, to learn about people, to stick together, to come together. For leadership. Leadership's crucial in these times. Sticking together is crucial in this time. Taking lessons from these times is important. Using the opportunity is important. So in times of crisis, it's an old saying, you never waste a good crisis. Well, there's certainly a big crisis in the world at the moment, but there'll be some good that comes out of it, I've got no doubt.
What are you boys up to, touching on cricket? I mean, what are all the athletes doing when their jobs essentially aren't existing at the moment?
Well, I've got great sympathy and empathy for the footy codes at the moment, and the guys playing in India and in England, as I've touched on before. But the reality is right now for the Australian cricket team, we're supposed to be having a rest from today. We were supposed to get back from New Zealand today. Our guys have literally gone for 2 years. We had a cricket season. A lot of them went to the IPL. They went from the IPL straight to the World Cup in England. We went straight from the World Cup in England to play the Ashes in England. We then came back. I said at the West Coast Eagles fairest and best last year, I said, knowing how you guys feel right now, imagine you've got to start the season in 2 weeks. And they all laughed at me. I said, well, that's what we do in cricket. So we had all that leading up. Then we had the World Cup, the Ashes. We had the full home summer. And then our guys were meant to go straight to the IPL today and then play a full IPL and then go straight to Bangladesh and then go straight to England and then go straight to home summer, which includes the T20 World Cup and in India and then a tour to South Africa. I'm getting tired just thinking about it. That's what they've done and that's what they've coming up. So the point is, for Australian cricketers right now, it's a great opportunity to just rest, recharge, reflect, and then hopefully build up to whatever is to come next.
Time with family.
Well, that's the other thing. I mean, the truth is, this is actually time of nirvana for me. And people go, what are you talking about? Well, I spend 10 months of the year away from home now. So, and when I'm 10 months, I'm in another country, I'm in another hotel, I'm in another hotel bed, I eat Uber Eats or restaurant or room service. I'm in airports or airplanes the whole time. Now, I'm home. I'm with my family every day.
Comfy bed.
I've got my own bed. I've got home-cooked dinner.
Yeah.
I've got home-cooked breakfast, lunch. I've got scones and banana cake this morning. I've got my garden. I've got fresh air where I can still go and work. I can still exercise. I've got clean water. I'm the luckiest bloke in the world. I literally feel, even though the bigger picture, and I'm really scared for a lot of people out there, and I empathise and sympathise got so much compassion. But right as I sit here this moment, I'm really happy because I'm with my family. Yeah. And again, to opportunities, I don't know one person in my circle of friends or life who has ever said to me, geez, I spend too much time with my family. They all say, I wish I could spend more time with my family. I'm living that dream now. I'm living the dream that I haven't done for probably 30 years. I'm actually seeing my family every day.
That's great.
And I love that.
And there'd be so many people that are doing the same but aren't realising what is in front of them is something that they've always wanted, and then they can have it now.
There it is.
Yeah.
So you want to walk the talk?
Yeah.
Leadership is about walking the talk, right? Everyone can say, oh, I wish I spent more time with my family. I wish I didn't work so much. Well, guess what? Here's your chance right now. Yeah. Is to see if that's what, and for me personally, it is living the dream. Whilst my business mind is still ticking, I'm still working from my desk at home, I'm still thinking about securing the future and looking after my people at work, looking after people in the community, of course, but the actual living arrangement for me is just fine because I'm with my family.
It's great.
And I love that, and that doesn't happen. Like I said, it's been 30 years since that's happened in my life, and I'm going to make every minute, because sooner or later we're going to get back to normal, and I hope that we learn lessons about what great normal is, because at the moment this new normal is just it's beautiful. I'm loving it.
Change tact a little bit. Both of you and I, obviously advocates for sport in this nation. It's, as a country we worship sport. What do you think, and what would you say to people now that are missing out on their dose? That in some ways it's a great social lubricant. It keeps so many things moving, and now we don't have it. What would you say to people in that situation?
Well, there's two sides to this question. One is, I mentioned to the West Coast Eagles footy players last week, and I mentioned to every professional sportsman who provide the entertainment for the masses, we'll never take it for granted again. I mean, we get looked after. Sports people now get looked after. It is unbelievable in this professional era and this era of TV rights and obscene amounts of money into sport. We can never take that. West Coast Eagles play in front of 50,000 at the Optus Stadium every second week. Never take it for granted ever again, guys, because it's a privilege. And I think sometimes that we talk a lot about this entitlement now. We're not entitled to that. This is a great privilege. Let's never forget that. Yeah, we get paid a lot of money to do what you love doing since you're a little kid. You're not entitled to that. let's not forget this is a great privilege. So the privilege isn't to just be great footballers or cricketers or tennis players or golfers or whatever sport, male or female. It's actually, the bigger picture is you get looked after really well to be not just a great sportsman but also a great person, and you're providing so much entertainment to people. See it as a privilege, not a right. And that will be a big lesson that comes out. And for us, I'm missing footy so much. I missed footy last year because I was in England the whole time.
Right.
Oh, I can't go to the footy every week. But guess what? Suck it up, JL. Like everyone else. I mean, it just again goes to show how lucky we are in the world we live in, that we have these incredible, we have sport and entertainment, and it's right there for us. And when it gets taken away for a little while, might we go, okay, never take that for granted again.
Definitely help us with our gratitude. I guess a different tact is one of the things that people would be struggling with on a personal level is just the uncertainty of how long this is going to fold out for people in their, in their jobs, and their work life, their family life. As someone who's led through difficult times and battles, what would you say to those people to deal with those uncertainties going forward?
Yeah, well, the thing about uncertainty is it creates fear. And with fear, it creates a lot of worry and anxiety, and that's going to affect a lot of people's mental health, no doubt about that. So my only advice is to look after what you can look after right this moment. While there's uncertainty, look after what you can look after right at this moment. And that's incredibly important, because if you spend all your time worrying about what could happen and what might or what you haven't got, well, then you're taking away the great energy. So for example, in the Australian cricket team right now, I'm not sure when we're playing our next game. But what I do know is I can ensure that all our players are staying physically and mentally healthy. I can make sure our systems are as world class, so that when we do start playing again, our players are going to be okay, our systems are going to be better than ever. There's things you can always do that can set you up for when we do get back
control.
Yeah, that's right. So pretty much, I mean, and people say that's a bit of a well, it is a bit of a cliche in a sense, but it's so true.
Yeah, it works.
It is so, it works. Yeah. It works. So control what you can control right now. Look after, and little things like, one, your family. You can look after your family and make sure that's, and build that, because you need that in the toughest times, right? Keep connected to your friends, because in the toughest time you need your friends. Your house, I mean, I'm sure there wouldn't be one person who hasn't done a lot around the house in the last, that's great. All the stuff that you never have time to do.
Yeah.
Do it. Do it right now. There's things you can control right now. So you're setting up it's like building a house. If you haven't got a strong foundation and well, it'll all fall apart. So build the foundation right now, or keep polishing the foundation right now. And the other thing I've learned is that things usually work out okay. I often get asked this, have you had any regrets in your career? When I was a player, I said, yeah, I got some regrets. I worried too much. Wish I didn't worry so much. So, things usually work out okay. Spend the time that you use on worry on doing things you can control.
Just wrapping it up, often when we face a crisis, it's on our own. This is a shared crisis. We're all in this together, and we're calling these sessions Stronger Together. What kind of tip would you like to land it on in terms of how you think we are stronger together?
One thing I've learned, Morrow, is that Australians are great. One of the great things about Australianism is we bandy together, don't we? We look after each other. We saw it during the summer with the bushfires. I mean, that was an incredibly sad and traumatic time for so many people, but we got behind it. We got behind the people who were affected by the bushfires, our farmers who have been affected so terribly by drought over the years. We get behind them. When something goes wrong, even in our small communities, if someone gets sick, or you hear of someone, a child has got cancer, or you've heard of someone who's had an accident, we're great at looking after them. And in these times, one of the great things about being an Australian is that we look after each other. And I love that. It makes me so proud to be an Aussie. Always has, because we look after each other. And in these times, what more important time? And one other thing, What I've learned in these tough times, you find out about people.
What they're made of.
You find out about people, and you find out what they're made of, and you find out who are the ones that look after other people and who are the ones that just start looking after themselves. I like that. I like finding out about people's characters, because people's characters are defined and exposed in times of crisis, and we are in one right now. So I already know the people who are going to have my back, and whose backs I'm going to have. You know that over time, but these are tough times. They're the ones you really find out.
Wow, some great stuff there, JL. Thanks for coming in and joining us today.
Pleasure, Morrow, anytime.
Thanks for joining us on these conversations online. You can check them out, Stronger Together, on your Creating Communities platform. We'd love to chat with you again. Until then, stay safe, look out for each other, and remember to follow the government's advice around COVID-19, taking care of yourself and your loved ones. Remember, we are stronger together.